Hello, beautiful conscious creators. I'm Kim Thalken, intuitive channel, quantum healer, and hypnotherapist. And today I'm going to be talking about merging energy fields with a soul connection, which is another person. So what happens, what does it mean when you merge your energy field with somebody else? And I'm doing this video because it is a part of the ascension experience for many, and more people are waking up in the world. So it's important to cover because it is a pretty powerful experience that can leave us wondering what in the world is going on with our bodies and this intense energy that's moving through us, bringing up all kinds of emotions. And we're not sure what's happening, why it's happening, what it means, or even how it happened. And also thinking, what is it about this other person that just makes this experience like no other? So I'm going to be answering these questions as it relates to two people here in physical form, incarnate, not from a place of merging with someone who is in spirit or a being in spirit, but two people here. And my intention is that if you are going through this now, or you have before and just couldn't make sense of, this of what happened, that this information is going to bring in a deeper level of understanding, so that you understand the purpose behind the experience for you. Or maybe you've never experienced this, but at a later time you will, and you'll remember what we've talked about today, and it'll help you move through it with greater ease. So let's get started. So let's talk about, how does something like this happen? Well, first, we are always connecting with other people's energy fields around us because our energy fields expand out. And so it is a natural part of engaging with other people. We're energy first, and our energy kind of like tentacles that expand out. And so we're reading and connecting to energy all the time, whether it is we know it or not. But what I'm talking about here is when our fields actually merge with someone else purposefully and become one. So it happens like this. Someone comes into your life or experience, and by doing so, it activates you. It's like a trigger for the merging process to begin just by engaging with that other person. And a lot of people talk about this in the twin flame communities and around twin flame connections. But it's important to say that it is not limited to that. It can also be with another high level soul connection. And what do I mean by high level? Meaning that through this connection, you are learning something really significant and on a higher level. And so what's important here is really not to put a label on what the connection is or isn't. Some people like to get caught up in, well, is this person my twin flame or soulmate or whatever? But you don't want to get caught up in that, because you'd be missing the point if you did. I mean, ultimately, it's about the interworkings of each of your higher selves, which is your soul, that are both coming together, agreeing to this experience. And that's what is key here. Now, one other key point that I want to make before we move into, well, how does this feel, is when you merge fields with somebody, is that this person does not have to be in your physical space to have this experience happen. This person can be in another country, they can be out of state, they can be, live an hour away from you, they can be in front of you. But it doesn't have to happen that way. It can happen just by you talking to this person over the phone. And that is because energy is not bound by or restricted by time or space. So, this can happen with somebody who you haven't even met in person before. All right, so let's talk next about how does this feel? What does this experience feel like? It is a very intense and powerful feeling, because it can feel like you're being taken over by this energy or enveloped in it. And it makes you feel really like you're losing control and you're not yourself. Like you're losing yourself in this energy because it is an all-encompassing experience that kind of takes you over. I mean, it's two people's energy fields coming together like this, becoming one. And so you can see where it would have that effect. All right. So when this happens, it'll also ignite very deep feelings of love with it. So this can cause issues for some people. It can be a challenge because it can also cause an obsessive type of energy to surface within you with how you start to feel about the other person, because all of your senses are really heightened. And this energy is so strong that you can't seem to disconnect from that other person or the energy, which is the purpose behind this process. It's their energy. It'll feel like their energy is always there. Thoughts of them always there. It's like they're with you at all times, even though they're not there in the physical. It's their energy. And so it'll activate this too also activates the Kundalini energy within you. It's all happening at once. So it's activating the Kundalini energy within you, which is very powerful because it's your soul's energy that's starting to move through you and awaken within you. Now, I'm sure you can imagine just from what I'm saying, if you've never experienced this before, wow, that's a lot of stuff going on at one time. Yes, it is. Now, the level of intensity can differ in each experience, but certainly when it first happens, it's a whole new experience, a whole new it's a set of feelings that you're going through. So it can feel even that much more powerful because you may not understand what's happening, what is going on in me. This isn't something I've ever felt before, and it's all encompassing and I can't detach from it. So the level of intensity, particularly the first time around, will be very, very powerful. Now, should and if it happens again, you'll feel better at least knowing what it is, and you'll have a better sense of how to navigate through the experience so it can temper the experience, because you can move through it from a more conscious place. And that's really what I'm hoping that the context of this video does to support, those of you who are watching this, is to assist you in moving through it from a conscious place so that it's not as intense as it can be otherwise. Now, another very interesting thing that happens too, I should say, is that this new energy running through you can make you feel like you're living in two different worlds. And you kind of are. It's like your old self and your new self merging together. And what you're experiencing in your inside world as all of this is moving through you and going on, the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, everything about it in your inside world is very, very different than what is going on in the outside world around you. So it's like you're living in two different worlds. And it is going to mess with your world, this experience, I have to say, because it is going to break down your linear way of being, because everything is so new. It's like you can't resist it. You can't stop it. It's all being orchestrated from your higher self, and your higher self is always the one that is really in control and kind of driving, the realities it is that we bring into our lives. So it's going to not feel so comfortable. There's going to be a whole range of emotions, but one of them is not feeling so comfortable, feeling out of control. So it'll challenge your linear mind, because that part of us always likes to be in control. And that's really the point, is to open us up to letting go and surrendering, and thereby allowing an upgrade in our consciousness. Now, anytime we're talking about elevating in consciousness, it is ultimately the best thing that could ever happen for us, but it's not going to be, it's never going to be an easy process for the human side of us to go through, because of all of these things, the loss of control and having to surrender and let go, and those kinds of things tend to be very difficult for the human side of us. Until it is, we go through this enough, then it is we can kind of ease more into that experience and process as it happens. So let's talk about, why in the world do two people come together to merge energy fields? And what is this all about with our higher selves getting involved? And how does this all come into play? Well, there are many reasons why this may happen based on what your soul needs to experience. But it's basically a desire on a soul level to experience divine love. And that is the divinity within yourself and also within another. It's a purification process. So anytime the Kundalini energy is activated, that's your soul's energy moving through you. It is a purification process. And this is what allows you to elevate in consciousness. Anytime we're purifying ourselves, we're going to elevate in consciousness. Now, the experience is there to open your heart. That's how you experience the divinity within you and with somebody else, is when our heart opens. And then to show you where all the imbalances, distortions, and polarity exists within you. And the other person is going to be going through the same thing as well, because that's what this does for each person involved. Okay, it'll ignite the most beautiful and powerful feelings of love, unconditional love, divine love that you've ever felt before. So at the onset, the feeling will be overwhelmed, right? Because there's these energies that you're not used to, and it's triggering all kinds of things in you as a part of the purification process. And anytime it is we're purifying, we're going to be seeing everything in our reality, in our world, that needs to be brought back into balance again, that was unconscious. So those are the feelings of overwhelm. But then the intense feelings, there's also intense feelings of love and bliss, because your heart has expanded, and so have you. And anytime our heart opens, we just experience the highest levels of love. And then it'll bring up everything it is that needs to be seen within yourself, right? That's the purification process. And you'll contract back down from the high, because it is like being on a high. It's like you're, walking on cloud 9, and you are in this bliss and magic and love, and oh my gosh, I've never felt this before. But then after you expand, you also then contract back down from that high to begin integrating the higher energies. And that's the part that's difficult. It's the integration part can be a little tough, because that's when you're working through all of the imbalances within yourself. So this merging process happens because it's an exchange of codes that each person holds within, that they then share with each other through the merging, because it supports each person's growth. So the two people that are involved, each of them have specific codes that are within them that activate and trigger the other person, because those are the codes that that other person needs and that you need. So then you come together and you merge and you integrate those codes within yourself. And they are codes that are going to benefit each person. So that is a part of the process, like the purpose behind it. But one of the challenges for the human is that the energy tends to come through the sacral chakra, and because of that, because it comes through more than often the sacral chakra, it'll amplify and bring up any sexual distortions, because that's your sexuality. That energy center is related to your sexuality. And so any sexual distortions that you're holding inside that need to be cleared will be amplified. In other words, heightened, kind of in your face, to be seen so that it can be cleared and purified. So with that being said, it can really be an incredibly sexual experience. And sexual energy is very intense to begin with. So I hope you're getting a feel for the intensity of the energies, the power behind it, and the experience as a whole, with all of that coupled together. The sexual experience coupled with the intense feelings of love. All right, so you can see where the emotions can be quite potent. Now, ideally, what you'd want to do is so that it doesn't get stuck in the sacral area, is that you would want to consciously move, through your intention and visualizations, move that energy up through the chakras from the sacral, so that you don't stay in that intense sexual energy. And so that you don't stay there, because it can be a bit much. But your higher self is also who's kind of guiding this process. And I always believe that things unfold just as they're supposed to. So if you do stay in that place and it stays in the sacral, it's because there's something in it for you. But ideally, that's what you would, want to do. And perhaps maybe if you have this happen a couple of times, the first time you might stay in that area a little longer, and the second time, or through this information, you remember it and you go, okay, I'm going to move that up through my energy field so that it doesn't stay there, and it can bring in greater purity in other areas of your being as well. So I know we've covered a lot of information to this point, but it's all good stuff. This is kind of what you need when you have something like this happen. It's just going to bring in more clarity, and I always find when I have an understanding of why something is happening, it's like, oh, okay, then, things feel a little better. But if you're finding value in this and the information is helpful, I would really love it if you would support my channel by liking this video, and also subscribing to my channel and sharing it out with others that might benefit from this, or might support as well. So let's talk now about, when in the world does something like this happen? And the answer is, it can really happen at any time. I mean, essentially when you're ready on a soul level, and when both higher selves decide that it's time to expand, and there's two willing hearts to do it, that's when it'll take place. Now, it's divinely orchestrated by the soul, the higher self, and the human side of us is never going to know, like, oh, today's the day that this is going to happen. But the higher self knows, and the two people's higher self know that they're going to be communicating, or know that they're going to be coming into each other's lives. And so that's kind of how it's planned, how it's laid out, how the foundation is laid out for this beautiful exchange to take place. And it can be at any time with anyone. You can be with a coworker. You can, be working with a client. It can be with the gardener that you're friendly with. It's what the souls have decided on, on a higher level. Now, I also want to say that it's going to be with somebody that you have some kind of rapport with, that there's some kind of connection to. It's not going to be, somebody randomly as you pass them on the street that you've never seen or talked to before, and all of a sudden you're merging fields. It's going to be with somebody that you've got some kind of connection to, that you have had exchanges with, that there's some kind of rapport with. And what can happen is that all of a sudden you're carrying about, and then you start to feel this energy moving through you after that exchange with that person. Or during the exchange. It's usually afterwards, I would say, though. And so you'll know, like, oh my gosh, this is connected to that person. Now, it may also happen over time in your connection, and the activation starts out more slowly, where it builds up, and there you are with this energy now affecting you all at once, and you're like, wow, how did that happen? And what I mean is, you're engaging with this person, and then slowly over time, over the course of your engaging with them, this energy then gets activated and it's now affecting you. So anyways, okay. You might ask, well, does your human have a say in this? I mean, do we have any say, or is this just something that, we have no say in? And can you consciously do this by making a choice with somebody else? And I want to say that it is possible if it is aligned to do that, and if it's going to serve each soul in some way. And I have heard some other people who hold this awareness, who's been on this, path of ascension. They're on the journey already, so they're aware of how energy works. They're aware of the merging of consciousness and souls. And from that higher place within them, with that level of understanding already in place, two people can come together and consciously, make this happen. But most of the time, I've seen this. It happens organically through the higher self, and it kind of unfolds from there, totally unsuspectedly from the human side. It just organically happens, and then you're off to the races. Now, to add another layer to the mix is, it also doesn't matter if you're already in a relationship with someone else, because again, this is orchestrated at a higher level, and it's only the lower self that's going to get caught up in the sexual side of things, or because of the intense feelings of love that have never been felt before, that come in, where you now start to think and question whether it is you're supposed to be in a relationship with that person, with that other person, when that's more than often not the case. It's just that your soul, it was, now is the time for it to learn whatever it is it's learning through this at this part of the journey. And so the merging experience is taking place, and your soul had planned to learn what it needs to learn through the activation that comes in from this other person, because they've got the specific codes it is that you need. So I want to add to that by saying too that everybody involved, including your current partner, if you have one, agreed to this on a soul level, because it would serve everybody involved, including your current partner, if you have one. So you see how it can get kind of tricky for the human, but on a soul level, everybody agreed to this. Now, you might ask, well, how would it serve my current partner? Well, if you are elevating in consciousness, then that is going to affect your partner in the highest of ways as well. So again, you can see where it can be difficult for the human to navigate this type of scenario, but on a soul level, everything is perfect and divine just as it is. Now, you might also ask, well, oh my gosh, how long does something like this last? And the answer is, it depends. Every situation is different. It can last for days or weeks, and the energy can activate and then die down and then actually activate again. So what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes people come in our lives and then they leave. So if this person comes in for a short amount of time, then the energy is activated at that time, and then they leave, that energy usually dies down. But if you're in ongoing exchanges with this person, you know, you talk to them, the energy's activated, it's running high, and then they're out of your life for a little bit, then the energy goes down, and then you reconnect with them, the energy can be activated again. So it really all depends. And every person's experience is going to be different and unique based on what their soul needs. Now, lastly, I do want to say that you can also merge energy fields with your pet. So when my dog Lexi Lou passed, the first week of her passing, I was up in the middle of the night and I felt her energy merge with mine in my heart. And we literally became one. I literally felt her in the middle of the night move into my heart space. And I knew at that time that we had become one. And it was really the most incredible experience I've ever had, to be mourning her loss and have the merge happen and actually move to a state of elation, bliss, and love. Because if you'll remember, I said this opens up your heart center. And I was literally elated, like for that next week, just having had her energy merge in my heart center and my heart expand. Now, the difference between merging with animals and human is that doing this with a pet is a much, much more pure experience, because you're not dealing with all of the clearing and the polarity and the distortions that you are when you are moving through that experience with somebody else, with another human who holds distortions and stuff too. And that's the point of the two coming together in that way. So it's when you're merging with the pet, I mean, they're pure love, right? They are pure. So when you're merging with that purity, it's really pure divine love, and it's a much, much different experience. So anyways, I hope this helps, and I hope it brings in some clarity around this and some ease if you are going through it now. Bye for now. See you in the next video.